Hi everyone, I'm Dan from Curious Animal. This is the second part of our tutorial on making this calendar. This time we're going to animate it with the transform area modifier included with our grid plugins for Cinema 4D. If you haven't already, you can check out the first part of the tutorial and also make sure to check out the basics tutorial on grid. So in this tutorial we're taking the layout that we've already made in the first part and we're going to animate it like this. So the 15th is going to expand and take over the whole calendar area, and everything else is going to get squashed out of the way. Alright, so let's close this. We'll delete the transform area I'd made for the preview. We're going to start again with transform area, and we'll add that down the bottom. When you look at the settings for transform area, it looks like the most complex ones out of the modifiers that are included in grid, which is why we wanted to have a tutorial especially for it to show you how it works. But basically what it's doing, it does two things. It takes the tiles from an area, which is this box defined within the source tab, and moves everything in that area towards the destination area. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is it will then automatically stretch the surrounding tiles to get them out of the way of those tiles that you're moving. So to start with, you define your source area, and we want that to include Wednesday the 15th. Like that. Then we go to destination, and we see already it's trying to stretch that out. I'm just going to invert the selection to hide all these boxes. Transform area uses selections a little bit differently to the rest of the modifiers. You can use the selection to define what the source area is, but it will still affect all of your tiles. So back to object, we're now defining the destination area, and we can drag this out in the same way. Now we can see that it's still stretching July up, whereas in our animation July had been left alone. The reason it's doing that is because the stretch bounds are automatically set to include all the tiles. Now the point of the stretch bounds is that everything between your areas that you're defining here in source and destination are stretched until the bounds. So we can take this off auto bounds, we'll take it back to source, which turns off the transform, which makes it a bit easier to work with, and we take our stretch bounds to exclude July. That way when we go back to destination, it's only stretching the tiles within those bounds. So now we just need to animate the strength value. From 0 to 100, and we've got the animation, and it'll automatically squash the surrounding tiles out of the way. You'll notice there are a few other options in neighbor behavior if you don't want to squash your tiles. You can use push-pull, which as far as possible will keep the sizes of your tiles, the surrounding tiles, the same, but will push them away. Or none, which will leave them as they were, but you see you'll get some overlaps in that mode, which is why we're using squash stretch. So thanks for watching. You can find out more about grid and download the demo to try at www.curiousanimal.tv.